Human development is rarely a straight line. It's a series of quantum leaps. Cognitive science reveals a phenomenon of discontinuous change, where our perception of reality and self shifts not gradually, but in sudden, transformative bursts. This isn't a breakdown, it is a breakthrough, a fundamental upgrade to your entire operating system. Think of a seed buried deep in the soil. For a long time, nothing appears to happen on the surface, but underground, a powerful transformation is underway. That is precisely your current state. You are in the germination phase, sensing the immense pressure and potential of new life, even if you can't yet see the sprout. Based on established psychological patterns, I can infer your recent state of mind. You've been experiencing a profound sense of cognitive dissonance. It's not anxiety, but a feeling of being fundamentally misaligned. The life you've meticulously constructed, your career, your social circles, the very identity you've worn, is starting to feel like a container you have outgrown. Does this resonate? Perhaps it began subtly a while back. You found yourself pausing during familiar tasks, a question echoing in your mind. Is this all there is? This wasn't a symptom of depression, but of awakening curiosity. It was your deeper consciousness gently reminding you of a dormant blueprint, a potential self you agreed to become. Or maybe you've started noticing what psychologists call the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, or frequency illusion. Certain numbers, topics, or themes appear with uncanny regularity, creating a web of meaningful coincidences. Your rational mind attempts to file these away as statistical noise, but a more profound intuition insists they are signposts. And here is the paradox that has likely been consuming you. An undeniable feeling that you are meant for something different. Not necessarily grander or more significant, just more authentic, more resonant, more you. Yet, every time you try to define this something, it dissolves like mist. You experience flashes of perfect clarity, often in moments of mental stillness, during a quiet walk, a morning shower, or just before sleep, when the path forward appears with absolute certainty. But when you consciously grasp for it, the insight vanishes. This is because you are not meant to seize it. You are designed to allow it to emerge. And that is precisely what is unfolding for you now, with or without your conscious permission. See, there are frameworks of human evolution that extend far beyond traditional academic models. We are taught about childhood, adolescence, and adulthood, but the conversation often omits the profound stages of consciousness that occur within these life phases. These are the points where you don't merely age, you awaken. Most people encounter one of these junctures and react with fear. They perceive it as a crisis. They scramble to revert to their former selves or desperately try to force the next version of their identity into existence. But you cannot rush this kind of metamorphosis, and you certainly cannot reverse it. Consider the process of a caterpillar entering its chrysalis. It doesn't get a vote. It cannot opt to remain in its familiar, comfortable form. The internal imperative for transformation becomes overwhelming, compelling it to dissolve its old structure to make way for what it is destined to become. This is happening to you. You are in your chrysalis. The old version of you, the one that brought you to this point, now feels restrictive because you are literally expanding beyond its limits, from the inside out. This is not happening because you failed or are experiencing a personal crisis. This is happening because you succeeded. You have been growing, learning, and expanding your awareness to a point where the container of your old identity can no longer sustain who you are becoming. The most remarkable part is that this next phase of your life has been assembling itself in the background for months, possibly years. All those subtle nudges, those moments of dissatisfaction with the status quo, all those recurring dreams and ideas, they were not random. They were a trail of breadcrumbs leading you to this exact moment. But here is the critical juncture. Many people recognize that change is imminent, yet they attempt to micromanage its unfolding. They want to manage their own evolution, scheduling it into their calendar between meetings and errands. They want to transition to their next level of being with the same predictability as planning a career move. It simply doesn't operate that way. This order of transformation follows its own timeline, guided by its own intelligence. Your role is not to force it or even to fully comprehend it. Your role is to acknowledge it, trust its intelligence, and create space for it to manifest. And that acknowledgement is the true purpose of this message. Because once you reframe your experience, once you understand that you are not losing your grip or navigating a random bout of instability, but are, in fact, upgrading to a new internal operating system, your entire perspective shifts. Suddenly, the restlessness is no longer a problem. It is a signal. The feeling of no longer fitting into your old life is not a failure. It is evidence of your progress. The discomfort you've been experiencing is not a bug. It is a feature of your growth. It is purposefully designed to motivate you to move forward rather than retreat to the familiar territory that no longer serves your evolution. And those flashes of clarity you keep receiving, they are not designed to taunt you. They are previews of your next chapter. They are your future self, sending back signals to affirm that yes, this journey is real, and yes, it is worth the temporary ambiguity you are navigating now. Now I'll pause for a second to say what's customary in such cases. If these ideas resonate with you, and you want this dialogue to continue and grow, the best way to support it is by subscribing. It's not just a number. It's a signal to the algorithms that something valuable is happening here. Knowing this intellectually is one thing, but embodying it is another. There is a predictable, observable process that occurs during these transitions. A sequence of stages that everyone moves through when shifting from one level of consciousness to another. Understanding these stages is transformative because instead of feeling lost, you begin to see a map of your own journey and can anticipate what lies ahead. The first stage is resonance and dissonance. This is the initial awareness that something is out of sync, though you can't articulate what. It's a persistent, low-frequency hum of mismatch. Externally, your life may appear flawless. You are meeting obligations, perhaps even achieving conventional success. But internally, the dissonance between who you are and how you are living intensifies. This stage, lasting weeks or months, is defined by deep questioning. You begin to deconstruct assumptions you've never challenged. Why this job? Why this city? Why these relationships? Not because they are inherently wrong, but because you now require a why that transcends habit or external expectation. The second stage is deconstruction. This is when the pressure of your expanding identity creates visible fractures in your external world. Strategies that once worked become ineffective. Relationships that felt secure become strained. Ambitions that once drove you feel hollow. This is the point of panic for many because it appears as if their life is collapsing. Your tolerance for superficiality plummets. Distractions that once offered escape no longer work. You might experience sudden emotional releases, tears or anger that seem disconnected from your immediate circumstances. But what's truly happening is that your old operating system is becoming incompatible with your emerging self. It's like trying to run advanced AI on a vintage computer. The system glitches because it wasn't built for this level of complexity. Every crack is an opening for light. Every breakdown is a breakthrough in disguise. Then comes the third stage, the liminal space. This is a gap between the letting go of the old and the arrival of the new. It's the most challenging phase because it demands that you exist in a state of not knowing. In the liminal space, your old reference points have dissolved, but new ones have not yet crystallized. You are in a transitional state, no longer who you were, but not yet who you are becoming. It can feel like being adrift in a vast ocean without a compass. This is where the ego rebels most fiercely. The ego's primary function is to maintain a continuous sense of identity. When that continuity is broken, it triggers every internal alarm. It will insist you are making a catastrophic error and should retreat to the safety of your past. But the liminal space isn't empty. It is pregnant with potential. It is the fertile void from which all new creation springs. It's the silent moment between a lightning flash and the clap of thunder. A powerful event has already occurred, but its full expression is not yet perceivable. The fourth stage is reconfiguration. This is when your new identity begins to materialize, not as a single event, but in fragments of insight and action that slowly coalesce into a coherent whole. You start receiving clear directives about who you are becoming and what you are meant to do. During reconfiguration, you'll notice a distinct shift in your energy. Activities that once drained you now feel neutral or even invigorating. New interests emerge, seemingly from nowhere. You find yourself drawn to different people, experiences, and modes of being. This stage requires immense patience as it unfolds in waves. You will experience major breakthroughs followed by periods that feel like setbacks. This is not regression. It is integration. Your entire system is learning to consistently operate from this new, higher vibrational state. The final stage is integration. This is when your new identity ceases to be an aspiration and becomes your natural, default state of being. You are no longer trying to be this new person. You simply are. In the integration phase, a sense of effortlessness pervades your life. You are not wrestling with yourself or forcing your own growth. Growth is now an organic process flowing through you. You have become a clear conduit for whatever unique potential is seeking expression through your specific combination of talents, passions, and life experiences. But here is a crucial insight about these stages. They are not a tidy, linear checklist. You may experience aspects of several stages at once, or cycle through them multiple times, each time at a greater depth. And here is the part that changes everything. Once you identify which stage you are in, you cease resisting the process and begin to cooperate with it. Instead of trying to fast forward to the end, you learn to appreciate the unique purpose of each phase. Dissonance teaches you to trust your inner guidance, even when it defies logic. Deconstruction teaches you that all endings are merely beginnings in disguise. The liminal space teaches you that not knowing is a prerequisite for true wisdom. Reconfiguration teaches you to recognize and follow the signals of your authentic self. And integration teaches you the profound peace of living in complete alignment with your true nature. Based on everything you've been experiencing, you are somewhere in this cycle. And wherever you are is precisely where you need to be. There is nothing to fix, nothing to rush, and nothing to control. Your only task is to remain aware of what is happening and to trust that this evolutionary process is far more intelligent than your conscious mind. If you recognize yourself in this description, if some deep part of you has been affirming these words, then you already know the truth. You are not broken. You are not falling behind. You are not imagining things. You are perfectly positioned within a process far more intelligent than your mind could ever orchestrate. This restlessness, this sense that something profound is on the horizon, it is not a fantasy. It is your future self calling you forward into the next chapter of your becoming. And here is the beauty of finally understanding this process. Once you stop fighting it and start flowing with it, everything becomes simpler. Not because the challenges disappear, but because you are no longer burdened by the secondary layer of resistance that comes from believing something is wrong with you. The stage you are in right now is preparing you for a reality you cannot yet conceive of, for a version of yourself that is unimaginable from your current vantage point. But that person is already here in potential, waiting for you to arrive, sending you these signals and synchronicities to confirm you are on a right path. Trust the architecture of the process. Trust the timing of your life. Trust that whatever is emerging through you is worth any temporary discomfort. Because on the other side of this transition isn't just a new you, it's the you were always meant to be. Your next stage is closer than you can imagine. And in conclusion, a small practice. If you have reached this point and felt an internal shift, anchor this state. Write in the comments the phrase, "My reconfiguration is in progress." Let this be not just a comment, but your personal confirmation, the point from which your conscious evolution begins.